Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Yep, today's the day. I just want to get this over with. Over the weeks, I think I had a mini aneurysm about 2 weeks ago, getting all worked up over the A's and the process here. Adam Hill may have had a stroke. I don't know. He flipped out one day. So I really don't want to talk about this anymore, but the special session is going on, and I'm watching what the folks in California are watching. And, yeah, it's embarrassing. I admit it. Guy who's covered the nuts and bolts from the Oakland side of things has done an unreal job on Twitter, and also what he's put up on YouTube is Casey Pratt from ABC7 in the Bay Area. How are you, my friend?
I'm busy, just like you. It's crazy.
It is.
What's going on out there?
It's so crazy. I saw that you just went on in Portland. What was that conversation like?
A lot of it is just what's going on with the A's, what's going on with the Oakland there, what's going on in Las Vegas, same stuff. I think Portland could be a viable expansion market, but if it was up to me, I would say Las Vegas is my top choice for expansion.
I went on in Portland about 8 days ago. I have a buddy who works on one of the stations, and I go on, and the first question was, hey, what's the vibe in Vegas? And I told him, well, there's a lot of dissension. There's, people are going up on the website. They're against it. Other folks don't really know all the information. And I do that for like 2 minutes. I'm just trying to give you a good feel. And then one of the guys is like, wow, we really want a baseball team here. It sounds like you guys don't want one. It's like, I don't know if we do. I don't know what the public wants, but the whole process on both sides, from your side and our side, has been so weird. And it culminates today. Give us your take on what this has been like down the stretch. June 5th cutoff. We get done yesterday. It's like, all right, now it's out of the woods. Now we probably gonna have a special session at some point. And then last night they're like, all right, they're coming back. And then delay today.
Yeah. What's funny is you haven't even gotten the baseball team yet, and you already have the buyer's remorse. And it's the same thing that we get hit with. We get hit with it all the time. Oh, you guys in Oakland must hate baseball. That's why it's going to Vegas. It's like, no.
No.
It's just like, this is how Major League Baseball has turned off people in two different media markets on Major League Baseball. How could you possibly sell your own product more poorly? Out there, though, it's interesting because the session ended. Everyone took a sigh of relief, probably in both markets.
Yeah.
And I thought that, maybe they would get their ducks in a row, maybe look a little more organized. Maybe, make the deal a little better, more popular, because I saw 71% of people were against it up until June 5th. And no, instead they just rammed it right through this morning. And I think a lot of that is because of Governor Lombardo's decision-making, not the, the legislators as a whole. I think that Lombardo probably saw what happened and, said, all right, I got to appease the lobbyists and the donors, and I got to get this thing out there. And if the Democrats vote it down, then, we can just point at them and say, blame them. They messed it up. In reality, they shouldn't have brought it so soon. They should have ironed out some details and then brought the special session with a little more organization.
Oh, my God. We have so many details we haven't talked about, and it's not going to get talked about, shoehorned this quickly. I know you were commenting on just the process, and I know this happens in most states, but the process is kind of crazy with a special session. We're all ready this morning to watch these things. Then there's a lunch break, and I know you pointed out earlier, like, wait, the Senate and the Assembly are doing it at the same time? Like, how the hell are we supposed to track this?
It was hard to follow, but it was easy to follow at the same time because nobody's doing anything. And I think that what you were seeing is the governor said, 10 a.m., you're going to talk about this. And all the other lawmakers were like hell we are. We just talked about things for 120 days, man. We're done. And so I think they were just proving a point. They were saying, all right, you want us to be here at 10? We'll be here at 10, and then we'll take a 4-hour break. So, yeah.
It's been slow to move. Casey Pratt is covering the A's from the Oakland side of things. It's still their team. I want to get into some of the issues in Oakland and some of the latest updates here in a second, but I saw you went on the game in the Bay Area, and I thought you said something really interesting. I think I have this correct. You were saying that the owner, John Fisher, really needs this deal in Vegas to get done, right?
Yeah, I think he desperately needs this deal in Vegas to get done because if you look at his track record as an owner in the last few years, this is a guy that inherited the Gap. The Gap stocks have plummeted. He wasn't paying rent during the pandemic at Gap stores or the Oakland Coliseum. He slashed his roster all the way down to the lowest in baseball amidst trying to close the most important deal in his franchise's history. And that's made things a lot harder for him because why does anybody want the worst team in baseball? Nobody does. So add that to, they took away the minor league players' food stipends. Every move they've made screams running out of resources and fast. So if you look at all of it together, it's not a good look, and I think that's why they need to get this deal so quickly. Out here, they're talking about building 50-plus acres. Out there, it's just 9 now, and they're okay with that all of a sudden. It seems like there's an air of desperation here.
I think back to both yours and Steve's point about buyer's remorse. Does Vegas even want? I don't think it's a matter of Vegas wanting baseball or not. It's a matter of Vegas not wanting the A's. This team has, it's proven time and time again during this whole turmoil the past couple of years that it's just self-sabotaging, or at least it looks like that. Why would they want a franchise? Why would anybody want that franchise, not baseball?
Yeah, it's really just, if you look at the bill out there, it just says Major League Baseball. It doesn't even say the A's. So if they get lucky, maybe they get the deal and flip it to a new owner, or maybe they can find a way to sell the rights to the A's, let Oakland owners build the A's, and then make that money go towards the stadium and have Vegas be the expansion. I think that would be a good option too. But at this point in time, the A's are a historic franchise under previous owners, obviously. They won, 4 world championships out here, and they're one of the most winningest teams in baseball over the last 20-some-odd years. It's just they've never actually had any investment since John Fisher took over. So while they've been able to develop and create really, really talented players, they've never supplemented those players with star power or any help. And so they always fail to get over the hump, and then when they don't get over the hump, they tear the whole roster down for parts and start all over again. And so if you're not really willing to invest in your own Major League Baseball team, don't buy a team.
Yep. Well, it's a rich person sport. And I want to go back to what you said about, the gap, and Fisher maybe not as rich as we think he is. And we've seen the numbers. He's worth $2.1 billion. His mom's worth $2.3 billion. What worries me, and I was always worried about this, I was worried about a commitment period. But what happens, and I think they're going to get this done today. He's going to get the yes vote. They're going to start breaking ground for a stadium. When they get here, is he going to have any money to improve this team? Or is it, hey, we just have to wait until the stadium is here 4 years from now?
My concern for the Las Vegas market would be they get to yes based on all this, false promise type stuff. You saw the renderings. They weren't even realistic. They're trying to sell you guys something that I don't know that they intend to deliver on. Right. Maybe they get the stadium built. Maybe they sell before it's ever built. I don't know. But once you give the guys everything they ask for, what incentive do they have now to actually deliver? If they're not the ones backstopping this deal, and it can be up to the taxpayers if this thing falls short of revenue estimates, then if it's not their money on the line, what reason do they have to change their ways? And the reason I thought they could change their ways in Oakland is because this team has always been run like a business, but the ballpark in Oakland would have been about $500 million cheaper because it doesn't need a roof. And they were also building 3,000 housing units and commercial real estate and all these other things that would have been revenue streams back into the team.
Yep.
In Las Vegas, you're not getting any of that. You're getting a 9-acre stadium that they're not going to own. The public's going to own it, and it's on land that they're not going to own. So where are the additional revenue streams coming from now that are supposed to fix the money spent on the roster? And that's my biggest concern for Las Vegas baseball. Who knows? Maybe they'll open up the purse strings a little bit back. I've never seen him do it. It never happened since he bought the team. So why start now?
Casey Pratt, ABC7 is up with Willie and Cofield here on ESPN Las Vegas. And that's also why I still believe they're looking at other sites, because the Wild Wild West site that was owned, or is owned, by Red Rock with the whole ballpark village, that was a brilliant deal for them. That was a great deal. And that's why the Rio site or the LV Festival grounds, or even the Wet and Wild site, I might be naming a bunch of sites that you don't know about it. You've done a lot of research on this. That's why I still think bigger sites are still in play, because the 9-acre thing just doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a revenue stream moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. You listen to every comment they made when they chose the Wild Wild West site. It was, residents want something that's easy to get in and out of, available parking, and then they had land to develop. Everything they said was important to them, they instantly turned their back on for the Tropicana site, which is why I don't think they really like the Tropicana site. I think it's just the site they're currently stuck with, and they can't really do anything about it because they got to get a bill passed. They can't move on to a third site before the bill gets passed and look like complete morons. So I would say, I was looking at this pretty closely, and I have a lot of sources that tell me a lot of things. And when I turned from saying I'm favoring Oakland in this deal to Vegas, it's when I started really looking at things I was hearing about the Rio site. And I thought the Rio site is the site. That's where they're going to build this ballpark, and that is why I think now the A's are going to end up in Las Vegas. When they announced the Wild Wild West site, I was actually surprised, frankly, because I was so certain the Rio site was going to be the site. And I do also think the Festival Ground site checks even more boxes than all the other sites. So I was even told shortly after they chose the Tropicana site, they were still touring other sites, which angered a lot of people. But that's what my sources told me. So I don't know. My gut tells me the Trop isn't it for Vegas, but it could be the quickest, easiest, cheapest version of baseball in Vegas, and that might be why they like it. They might be willing to go with it.
Did you sit down with the mayor of Oakland, and what came out of that conversation about further efforts to keep either the A's there or get baseball there?
Yeah, yesterday I was in the mayor's office in City Hall, and we sat at her desk, and I talked to her for about 20 minutes, and she answered every question I asked. And I think the main thing that came from her is she really, really, truly felt that the deal out here was very close. She feels that if A's ownership was to come back to the table in Oakland, she would pick up the phone and work with them. And what was interesting to me is I had heard that she was told that she was not allowed to call or reach out to MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, and she told me that was absolutely true. The A's asked her not to talk to the MLB Commissioner. And I think that's kind of funny because when you listen to the Commissioner talk now, he seems to not understand what the deal was in Oakland. I don't know who he's getting his information from at this point. Certainly not me or the mayor's office, but there's just a lot weird going on with the whole deal, and I don't know. I think if they sign this deal in Vegas, I don't see Major League Baseball coming back here ever. But I think if this deal flops, there is something on the table that another ownership group could probably pounce on and get done really quickly.
I'm going to throw you another angle to close. This is something we got into yesterday with Liv, I believe, basically purchasing the PGA. And I was asking the whole crew here, what's going to be the first major sport where the commish and the owners are like, we'll let the Saudis buy into the sport. Could you see John Fisher getting an offer of hey, just something exorbitant, $1.5 billion for the A's, and Manfred and Fisher and the rest of the owners going with it and going, let the Saudis buy the A's.
I don't know if it would be the Saudis. I don't know. The Saudis seem to be really interested in sports right now for some reason.
I know.
I mean, if you watch WWE, they're out there in Saudi Arabia putting on shows all the time now. I don't know.
I guess my point, Casey, is will there be any effort? You just said if they leave, baseball is not going to be interested in going back. If this in some way fell through today or tomorrow, whenever this gets done here in Vegas and Nevada, and then Fisher is like, what, I do have to sell. I just wonder if there's going to be any effort and a push from baseball, sell to local ownership in the Bay Area that's committed to keeping them there, or is even that hope out the window?
No, I don't think that hope's out the window because I can think of several ownership groups out here that would buy the team. I mean, there's only 30 Major League Baseball teams, and if one hits the market, a lot of people are going to try to buy it. Warriors owner Joe Lacob is a great example of a guy who's been on the record saying he got a standing offer to buy the A's, and he bought the Warriors when they were one of the worst basketball teams out there, historically bad, and turned them into one of the biggest basketball dynasties ever and built them a brand new arena, and now they're very, very profitable. He bought the team for around $400 million. They're probably worth about $5 billion now. So he knows how to take a team in the dumps and turn it into a winner. I think everybody out here would be hoping for someone like that to buy the A's. But you can't buy what's not for sale, guys. Yeah. And every single person I've talked to that has interest in buying this team has said the exact same thing. They're just not for sale.
Well, I'll tell you, this show's rooting for you because we're fine waiting. And if there's an expansion team down the road, but you guys keep the A's, and it's not I'm not being nasty about it, but I'm not comfortable stealing a team and from another market, especially with this deal. So, hey, your coverage has been great. Everyone out there, follow Casey up on Twitter. Where can they follow you, Casey?
At Casey Pratt, ABC7, or just go check me out on YouTube. I post videos all the time, including my sit down with the mayor. And, right back at you guys. I've been a very strong proponent of baseball in Vegas. I think baseball in Vegas would be awesome. I just don't think this is the deal we want. Yeah. So, I'm not coming on as a hater of Las Vegas. I have much love for you guys. I really want to see you get baseball. And I think it would be cool if they could somehow sell the rights to the A's to an owner in the Bay Area. than take that money and use it to get that expansion done in Las Vegas. I think that would be a real win-win.
Casey, great spot. Thank you. I know you're busy. We'll see you.